This is Sarah. Whoops. Oh.
What do you use, Sarah?
I think I use direct touch. I know I'm sounding ignorant. What's the one,
one
when you
go ahead.
When you touch it and then lift your finger?
Yeah, that's direct touch.
Yeah, I like direct. Direct is it's faster, and I started using it because when you have to put in a code or a password or something like that, I just wanted confirmation that I was getting the right letter.
I'm going to do it after this call. I'm going to do it again and see if I can be swayed.
And by the way, we should be live streaming to YouTube now, according to what I'm seeing here. I don't really want to, mess with checking it right now, but we should be.
So
did Rita get in?
No, she's not in yet.
She got bumped.
Yep.
That's a shame.
Every time I'm about to text her and tell her come in now, then somebody beats her to it. I'm gonna put a message in here that all I gotta do is hit send whenever we get another opportunity.
How do you text without two-finger double tap for dictation without disconnecting the Zoom call?
You don't.
You're typing. So you're typing from another device?
Right.
I'm glad you said that, Matt, because I was like, wait, is there a
No,
constantly hanging up.
That actually worked in WebEx because WebEx didn't use the traditional in-call service. They went on their own and did something else. But it doesn't work in most situations. You're not typically going to be able to do that.
So you need to have a second device to communicate with the group. Well,
which I prefer to anyway, and that's just how I like to work. It certainly can be done all on one device, but I don't know why mentally that just feels different to me, and I can't compartmentalize it as easily. Plus, if I want to ever enable original sound to do screen shares or to let everybody hear voiceover from the device that I'm using in the meeting, then I wouldn't want to be sending other messages from that same device anyhow.
So I can mute and unmute myself from Zoom, correct? So if I want to,
just not with a two-finger double tap though. You have to do it on screen. But yes, you can.
Right. Just to finish what I was saying about standard typing is old habits die hard. So I'm going to be forward thinking and do direct touch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just to insert, I think we should probably begin our calls with letting people know that we don't use raised hands.
That's a good point, because I saw one too a minute ago. We're going to give you all an opportunity to chat your questions in during the break, and we need you to just be patient with us and do it that way. That's how we feel it's going to work the best. And if we started taking raised hands, I just think we'd really be here all day and not get anything taught, to be honest with you. If in small groups, when I'm teaching 5 or 10 people at one time, we absolutely use raised hands. In fact, a lot of times in meetings that small, when I teach, I don't even hard mute anybody. But you get over 10 and it just starts to get really, really muddy. So we've made that decision over a lot of years, a lot of customer feedback, student feedback. We don't like to be ruthless about it, but we do need to kind of stick to it. So no raised hands, no unmuting. We're just going to give you a chance to chat during the break, which is coming up in probably about 15 minutes.
I think one of the things that happens is there are so many different platforms and, forums, and, some people do use the raised hand or the Q&A or the chat so we just need to keep reiterating, because if people are on several different platforms or in several different classes, then they just need to be reminded, right? I mean, sort of as a kindness to them.
Hold on. Sorry.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry about that. My phone was talking at the same time, but no, you're right, Sarah. And it's just there's so many. I mean, and I love, like I said, it's nice when you can do that. But yeah. And thank you to the person for being so kind and lowering your hand. We hope we didn't offend you. I just saw the hand go down there. I appreciate that. It's absolutely not our intent to offend anybody or make things frustrating. We just got to have the method that I think is going to, facilitate the best experience for everybody. So keep that question in mind. Don't forget it. Put it in the chat here in a few minutes when the chat becomes live. Anything else you want to add, guys?
I just think it's so exciting and empowering to be able to type in edit fields whichever way you're comfortable with, because that's the basis of how we communicate. So
it is. And I love, I really love typing on the screen of my device. Now, I also love my keyboard. I have a Magic keyboard with trackpad for the iPad, and Cliff always rags on me about how much that thing costs and everything. But I'm telling you what, it's a wonderful. Well, Sarah,
Yeah.
You have it, right?
Yes, I do, and I love it.
The feel of that
great.
thing.
It
it
works
does.
great. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, and it attaches to the iPad beautifully, and and just makes the handling of the iPad so much easier.
Is that the one with the hinges that
yes.
you can tilt it?
It's not really hinges. It's I thought it was hinges before I actually got the thing, but it's a magnetized. It's like a magnetized easel that can that is super easy to close down on the keyboard, and then it turns into a portfolio sort of thing, like a cover.
Mm-hmm.
But it's magnetized on the back versus on the bottom, which they used to be.
Very well
how it used to be. Beautifully engineered.
It is. It really, really is. So
I also wanted to mention that some of learning these typing modes and or dictation might be frustrating. Like a lot of times when I'm dictating and dictation gets it wrong, they write and instead of in or whatever, and I get frustrated. I have to keep reminding myself, a few years back, we didn't have this. And it's just an amazing inroads to basically making technology accessible.
Yes.
And we didn't have the ADA until just a couple of decades ago. So I'm just saying this is amazing stuff, and it's going to be frustrating when you first open your mind to it, or even if you already have and you've been working on it. Sometimes it'll be frustrating, but don't let go of it.
That's right. Absolutely, I agree. Very well said. Folks, if you are joining us from YouTube, which I don't know if anybody is, but if you are, this is the TTJ instructor team with our voiceover in and out class, as it says in the title. We'll be live until about 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to make sure that you're really in the loop, get into Zoom early. We're looking at different options for participants, but we're kind of taking it one day at a time. This is the biggest crowd we've had since, I think, day one of the class. So maybe a lot of people really like Zoom and really didn't like WebEx or something. I don't know, because we've had close to this, but I don't think we've reached this number since the first day. So I'm excited. Praise God.
How many so we have 100 in
we
Zoom.
Are on 100 exactly. Yep. And sometimes we drop down to 99, and every time we do, I send Rita a message and I say, get in here, but it hasn't worked yet.
Rita, I hope you're standing by.
I know, right? So we'll, but yeah, it's kind of,
that's just a reminder to get in fast in the beginning of the class.
Yep. That's right. Yep. Yeah, because if you look at your screen, it says 100 participants. We are maxed out.
It's a lesson to us instructors as well.
Exactly.
To get in early.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always early. I have a thing with time, a little over the deep end about being on time.
No, you're a good person. I tend towards the other side.
Sometimes you're there. Sometimes you're there before I am, Lynn.
I know.
Yep. All right. So that's a bit about the typing modes. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to now talk about we'll take a break and do the chat questions in about 10 minutes. What I'd like to do before we do that is I'd like to talk about the quick bar, as I like to call it. It kind of goes by different names. On the screen of your iPhone or iPad, above the letters U, I, and O, okay, if you're, picturing the QWERTY keyboard layout there, directly above that, you are going to find a quick bar, and its function varies depending on what you're doing. So probably most commonly it is the autocorrect and quick type bar. Now, quick type is not to be confused with quick path, which is slide to type that we shared about a few minutes ago. Quick type is predictive text. Okay. And I think everybody probably knows what that means, but just to be sure, if I start typing a word, it's going to give me options of what that word might be, so I don't have to type the whole word. Or if I type one word, it's going to give me options of what it thinks the next word maybe I might have in mind, okay? And again, this gets better and better as you use it because it learns your behaviors, it learns what you say, and, it works very, very well. That is quick type. And of course, autocorrect is, I make a mistake, the word is misspelled, and it's going to give me some choices as to maybe what I really meant. Okay. So most often, your quick bar above the U, I, and O is going to be that quick type predictions and autocorrect. Let me give you a little example of autocorrect or quick type.
Return.
All right. Let's try to type a word here. We've already used hello a bunch, so let's come up with something else. Let's do how are you? So if I type an H, okay. Oh, I don't. Let me. All right, I'm going to delete all this. No. This is Rita's. I keep telling her to.
Period. Now.
Okay.
Space.
So I gotta see. We're still on. Yep, we're still on 100. So, all right. So let's type
space.
Let's type the. I said we're gonna do how are you?
Cap H.
There's my H.
Cap H.
I'm gonna look right away above the U, I, and O.
Messages. Rita Howell's message. Send. Undo button.
I can also swipe to the right here, and I've got undo and
redo. Dim. Paste. Dim. H.
All right. So H is one of the predictions. It's just going to put an H in there and put a space after it.
Hi.
Message received from Rachel Rose.
It's going to put I have a second option, which is hi.
Hi.
And have is my third option.
Grab accent.
All right. And then it goes back to the keyboard. So I have H, hi, and have. And if I wanted any of these, I simply double tap on it to insert it. I didn't, though. I said we're going to do how. So let's see now.
Messages.
If in fact,
how, however, how.
There's how. We can double tap on that.
Do.
And you see now it's going to give me suggestions of what I might want to type next, like do, much,
grab accent, much, are,
and are. So how much? We're going to do how are.
You.
And it already puts me on you.
Doing. Space.
I could put doing.
Today.
And it even has today, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to go ahead and put a question mark.
Question mark. Message. Text field is editing.
And so we can read it.
How are you doing?
Okay. So there,
Matt,
yes.
Can you address when it says grave accent?
Well, that's just a character on the keyboard that I went to. That's not going to be on most iPhone keyboards. That's just because I have the 12.9-inch iPad, and that's the accent that you can insert with, it's to the left of the number 1. And so when I swiped to the right of the last prediction, it wrapped around to the first character on the keyboard, which for most people on an iPhone is just going to be the Q.
Okay.
But that's what that is.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. So that's how easy it is to use QuickType, autocorrect. Now, if I misspell something,
Return.
let me see.
You question space G.
All right.
G question.
Let's do.
Mark,
Let me
space.
put.
G done.
Let me
Make
like
it
pretend.
Return.
Let's misspell the word doing, and just put a.
I. Delete.
Let's put a U.
U.
Okay. Now, if I'm actually typing the word doing, and I put a U instead of an I, it's going to autocorrect that. I guarantee it. And you'll know because you'll hear a little bubble sound, and it's going to automatically correct it. I don't even need to worry about it. Okay. But if I go back and edit it to deliberately put a U in there instead of an I, as I did now, so it's now spelled D-O-U-N-G.
G question mark. Question mark.
We're going to put a space here because it's got to be directly to the right of the word, directly after the word, either the punctuation or the space.
Space doing misspelled.
And it tells me right away that it's misspelled. When I teach you how to edit, you'll know that also as you go back through and read this, it would tell me again that it's misspelled. And for a sighted user, it's going to be red underlined, and you can tap on it and choose a correction. We're going to teach you how to do those kinds of spell checks with VoiceOver. But what I want to show you right now is that if I just delete the space or the punctuation that is directly after the misspelled word,
Delete. Space.
I can go up here, and sometimes it'll actually pop up a little menu, but I can also go up here to my
Doubtful. Doubting. Doubtful. Grab. Doubting. Doing.
okay. It's giving me 3 choices there, and I can pick from the one that I want. Now I'm going to leave this misspelled because we'll give you a chance to see how to do a spell check. So
Return
I'm going to
question
do,
G.
I'm going to keep it misspelled,
Space. Doing misspelled.
and I'm going to try to misspell something else. So we have at least 2 misspellings. And this one, as I say, when I start typing, it's going to try to autocorrect, but I got to make it weird enough that it's not going to autocorrect.
T. P. D. A. Y.
I think if I press space,
Space.
it autocorrected.
Work today.
Yep, it did. Even though I
Characters.
put a P instead of an O in today,
T. O. D. A. Y. Space.
it autocorrected. Let's try something really weird. I got to get creative here.
E. V. Z. Y. M. E.
Okay, that's really weird. It's supposed to be everyone, and I really misspelled it. I don't even know if it's going to be able to find the correct word based on how badly I misspelled that.
Space. Evryome. Misspelled.
That's really, really misspelled. Okay, but it gives me a chance to teach you how to do a spell check. So again, if you're not a VoiceOver user, you simply see the word that's red underlined, and you tap and hold on it for a second, and it's going to bring up a list of replacements. Now, you have a similar option to that in apps like Pages and Notes, but there's also another way for VoiceOver users to do a sort of a global spell check. And what we'll do is we will double tap in this edit field, because one thing you're going to learn is that when you repeatedly double tap in edit fields, it moves your VoiceOver cursor back and forth between the beginning of the edit field and the end of the edit field. And I think we taught you that before. It's not only moving the VoiceOver cursor, but the insertion point, which is the system cursor that moves when you type. And it's moving you between the beginning and the end, back and forth. So if I go to this edit field,
Send message. Text field is edited. Insertion point at start. Insertion point at end.
see every time I double tap. So I'm going to double tap again.
Insertion point at start.
Now what I'm going to do is tap on the return key. So my focus of the VoiceOver cursor is on the keyboard.
Return.
And I'm going to set
Use the rotor to access misspelled words. Mentions.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the rotor to misspelled words.
Mentions. Misspelled words.
And I'll swipe.
Left or right to choose a replacement, then double tap to insert.
Okay, so we have to swipe up and down to go from misspelling to misspelling. So we're going to go to the next misspelled word by swiping down.
Doing. Selected.
There's that D-O-U-N-G. Let's swipe left and right, and hopefully I'll see doing as an option.
Doubting. Doing.
There it is, double tap.
Doing. Unselected.
All right, now let's swipe down to the next one.
Evryome. Selected.
I don't know, guys. Let's swipe left and right.
No replacements.
Yeah, that's what I suspected because it was really, really butchered. But when you're using the misspelled words rotor option, the cool thing is The word is now selected. So even though it doesn't have replacement options, I can have another go at it and I can type it again. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And now I typed it correctly. And that's the last misspelling. See, you don't have any more.
Return,
So
mentions, characters.
set the turn the rotor away from that. Now listen.
Message text field is editing.
To our edit
Now.
field.
How are you doing today, everyone? Character mode.
See, so we fixed it and we didn't even need a replacement. There were none because, and I knew that would be the case because I had really, really misspelled it. But if you don't have a replacement, so let's just review these steps again. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to set the voiceover cursor and the insertion point, which are operating in tandem here, prior to, before, ahead of, in front of, whatever you want to call it, the first misspelling. I typically recommend just go to the beginning of the document, the message, the note, whatever it is, the edit field. That's why I just did a double tap to get the insertion point at the start, at the beginning of the edit field. I think that works best. Then you're going to set your rotor to misspelled words. And if you don't find it, just tap on a letter of the keyboard to bring focus to the keyboard and then try again. Because this misspelled words option is not something you have to add to the rotor. It's just dynamic. It's context aware. It appears when it is needed. And so you can just turn the rotor to misspelled words. And then you're going to swipe down to get to the first misspelled word. If it is indeed something you want to change, you will swipe left and right to hear the different replacement options. And when you come to the one you want, you just double tap. One finger double tap. And it is as easy as that. Now, if you land on something where you swipe left and right as I did and you hear no replacements found, remember that that word is already selected. So all you got to do is try again. Try a different spelling than what you tried before, and hopefully you'll come across the correct spelling. And, you know, worst case scenario, if you still can't find it, you could always do
3:02 p.m.
Sorry, my iPad went to sleep. There's I got to get this word out of there because I see an opportunity for Rita to come in. Let's
delete selection to hide. Send record audio.
Okay. And
Messages.
anyway, if worst case scenario you still can't figure out the spelling, you can always do something like this as well with Siri.
Nice.
How do you spell geometry?
Geometry, Geometry.
Cap B.
So you can always ask
Message.
Siri to spell things for you, just like you can ask Siri for definitions and translations of words and stuff. So if you're really stumped, you know, just ask Siri. Okay. But that is how you do spell checking. And that is how you do moving the insertion point to the beginning and the end. After the break, we're going to learn how to move it within the edit field. And what else does the team have before we take a little break here? Anything else from the team?
I'm good.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So here's the deal, guys. In exactly, there's Rita. There's Rita.
Hey,
We got Rita.
hey.
Let me get her unmuted here. All right, Rita, you can unmute now.
Well, how about that?
Hey there.
Hi, Rita.
How you doing?
Okay.
Were you watching the live stream on YouTube?
No, have you posted that information to students so that, because I'm getting text
Oh yeah,
messages.
in multiple places. In multiple places.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting
Screen
messages that
dimmed.
people can't get back in.
Apps button.
Yep.
So,
If they need to use either, it's in two places that they can readily access. It's in the email that we sent out on Saturday night. And it's one of the links near the bottom. It says TTJ Tech YouTube channel for live streaming when sessions become full. And it's also in the iCloud shared folders in the instructions for the VO in and out class. It is in
Got
both
it.
of those places.
Okay.
And if now, I will admit I didn't go on to YouTube myself and test this, but it tells me it's live streaming, so and we've tested it before in private sessions and it did work. So we are, we're operating a little bit under that assumption, but yes, that's where that's found.
Okay.
All right. So we are just about to give everybody about a 5-minute break here. And while we
Rita
do
needs
that,
a break.
yeah, Rita needs a break already, right? So here's what we're going to do, guys. Okay. In about 1 minute, the chat feature is going to become active. You're going to go into the more button and you're going to hit chat with everyone, I think it says, and you will put your questions in the chat. The chat will only remain active until we are done with the Q&A period. When we resume teaching, the chat will no longer be active again. So you need to get your questions in promptly. And if we have time at the end, we will re-enable it one more time, but I can't make that promise. We're going to just have to play that by ear. So this is your Q&A time for sure. The chat will become available in a moment, and I will let you know when it is. We're going to take a quick break, get yourself a drink, make some notes, whatever you want to do. And guys, the chat will be active in about 10 seconds. Okay, guys, the chat is live. Put those questions in there. And of course, we're hearing those, but we're going to give everybody a few minutes break and then we'll answer them. Chat is working. We can see that.
Sarah, are you there? Sarah,
Yeah,
did you get the delivery today?
I did.
And did you try them?
I couldn't set it up before it happened just as we were getting on the call.
Oh, well.
So
Exciting.
I actually put one of them in my ear to see if it actually fit better, and it does.
Oh, good.
So that's a nice thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I can call you
Great.
later and tell you.
Yeah, I want to hear how it goes.
Yeah, and maybe you can give me some pointers on how to get it going and all that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when you get in, there's a in Bluetooth, after all you do is open the
After I
case
attach
and then
yeah.
and
That I know, because the original ones. Yeah, go on.
But then go to info or
Right.
more.
Okay.
And then you can set up each ear the way you want it. And there's also a, a fit test for the tips to see which tips fit better.
And is that also in info?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
So you'll have something to
I'm
play around.
excited.
Yeah, I am too.
The wearing the left one in my right ear has gotten very dangerous.
Oh my God, that can make your
I mean,
brain all confused.
well, no, it's not my brain. It's that it doesn't fit very well. So if I'm washing dishes, it hasn't yet, but it falls and I'll catch it really quickly.
Oh God, that's terrible.
I know.
Well, that's a good reason for Rachel to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Or not.
Or not.
Well, I never had luck getting my kids to do any of that.
I read novels and, they're talking about their kids doing chores. And I'm like, and I think Matt has some success with his kids. There was so much pushing
I know.
that I gave up.
Yeah. And then as an adult, Shayna says, well, we never did anything. Like my friends grew up, everyone had a chore. We didn't do any of those things. I'm like, yeah.
We
Not for lack
asked.
of trying.
Yeah.
What are we?
We're
We're
just
talking about
chit-chatting.
kids and chores.
Oh,
But we
Yeah,
think
right
you
on topic, Matt.
Yeah, we think your kids are probably good at that.
well, they are. We are pretty easygoing as parents go, I think, based on some of what I've seen, but we've kind of made it known that we're a family and everybody in the family helps each other. And so, if we have to clean the house, everybody's got to be involved in that because that's, we're all part of the family. So, most times that works. I mean, there are days they don't want to do it, but there are days as an adult, I don't want to do it, So
Yeah.
I can't really fault that too much.
Well, from
Yeah.
my perspective, just listening to your interactions with your kids, I think one of the key things that you're doing that I feel is right is that there's just mutual respect going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that's,
Well, you're like a team. You're a team.
Yeah. And that's definitely how we try to do things, because I mean, they are human beings. They do have feelings, I don't need to rule over them. I mean, I'm obligated to be their authority figure when I need to be, and that's fine, but I think you can do that in a way that does involve mutual respect and so forth. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I totally believe in that.
Yep, definitely. All right, well, we got a lot of good questions in here from what I'm seeing. I'm going to head over. The chat is still enabled for a few minutes yet if you need to ask something and you didn't get to. Guys, if you want to head to
I'm there.
chat. You're there
Typing
also?
mode. Can you say to access the typing mode?
Okay.
So,
Right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's fine. Go ahead.
Well, two things. I turn slide to type off. Okay. And so slide to type is under general and keyboard. Okay. That's one. Now the rest, okay, is under the other for typing mode, like touch type. There's touch typing, standard typing, and direct touch typing, 3 modes. So other than the slide to type, that's something different. Okay. So that's in the what anyway. So you go to accessibility, you go to settings, accessibility, voiceover.
Rotor.
And where is it under
Rotor.
there?
Rotor.
Rotor. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. And then, so that enables it in the in the, to have it on the rotor, but isn't it somewhere else where you?
Yeah, it's just under voiceover. Typing mode is one of the choices there also.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. Rotor allows you to have the typing modes in the rotor.
to switch back and forth. Yeah,
right.
Sorry.
Okay, but to get to the typing modes themselves is accessibility and voiceover and then typing. So, and most people, just to explain, standard, they got it. Okay. Okay.
Right.
So, okay.
I want to address one that just came in, and then Rita, I'll let you take another one. Someone said, which I'm sure you all heard it because I think everybody can hear the chats. Someone said that they're sort of, they didn't use these words, but they're sort of frustrated that the chat is restricted to a certain portion. They believe it should be open for the entire time. And I want to address that. First of all, I totally understand where you are coming from, and I get it. Believe me, I get it. 1,000%. I understand it, and I don't want to offend you because I don't want to make you mad at me, and I don't want to seem like I ever have it all figured out or like I know it all. Okay, because I'm a work in progress. We all are. All right, praise God. On this issue, I don't think you're going to sway me. and I don't think you're going to sway the rest of the team. And here's why. I would urge you to see this from our perspective and from the perspective of all the students, including yourself, who are trying to listen and learn. We've got 100 people in here. If we don't restrict that chat and people just chat whenever they see fit to do so, VoiceOver will read that every single time. And before we know it, someone, because people do this, I'm not criticizing anybody, someone will start chatting with each other, maybe even trying to be helpful, try to answer somebody else's question, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I know we can 3-finger double tap to mute our speech if we don't want to deal with that, but I can't make sure that everybody of all 100 people are muting their speech. And if you miss something because your voiceover was talking, I can't always, in the sake of time, I can't always go back and repeat everything that you missed. So by muting voiceover, you're also missing other stuff too. Like there are things I need to be able to hear on my phone. Like it was urgently important that I hear when somebody left so I could immediately send Rita another message and say, okay, get in here. So I had to hear that somebody left. Now, if I had muted speech so that I was satisfied that there was no chatting, I would have missed that. Okay. So unfortunately, I wish we could oblige. I understand why you're asking us that, but I don't see that being a practical solution right now. What I would encourage you to do is, to use, if you're concerned about forgetting your question or something like that, I would encourage you to, yeah, that's right.
Also, what happens when
Sarah.
you're listening to chat while you're teaching is that your voice, Matt, or any of our voices gets hesitant because we can't do two things at once. So we're listening to the voiceover and speaking or trying to speak, and then it's going to come out stilted, and maybe you're not going to get the clarity of understanding that you would like because our clarity of understanding is a little bit skewed.
Right.
Did that make sense?
Yeah. So if you need to write down your questions, in another app until we give you the chance, and we're gonna leave it open long enough, like it's still open now. So while we're answering questions, we're gonna do that. Just when we get into the serious teaching again, so I don't want to dwell on that, but I did want to respond to it. Hopefully we've at least explained to you the rationale for our decision there. Rita, you want to take another one?
Sure. There's a question about accessing the help session on Tuesdays. Okay. The help sessions are in Zoom. We've switched over to Zoom, no longer WebEx. And you would have gotten an email about that. Several that say, here's the link for Zoom. Is it in the instructions document, Matt, for the new Zoom link for the help session?
I think so. I think it is. I will have to double check on that one. And if it's not, I will add it. It is on the website ttjtech.net, and you don't even have to copy and paste it. That one's a link. It just says join the help session. So you can click that link, and it's also on the calendar, the TTJ training calendar.
Okay, so just to break this down a little bit, because we keep getting, this question keeps getting asked. Okay, if you've got the calendar enabled on your phone, it will automatically be there for the TTJ training calendar. Okay, there's one way to get to the help sessions and to these Zoom sessions. Okay, that's that. Okay, then another way to get to the help sessions is to go to the ttjtech.net website. So ttjtech.net. Okay, and then turn your rotor to links. Okay, and as you turn your rotor to links, you flick down and it'll say join the help session. Okay, and so you double tap that on Tuesdays at, if it's a 2 o'clock Eastern. So if you're in the West Coast, it'd be 10 a.m., right? 10. Is that right?
11 a.m.
11.
11 a.m. Okay. Okay. And so then you do it that way. Okay. Another way is to open your Files app. And if you accepted the shared link for the folder, there'll be there's 18 documents in there right now. And you want to go to the instructions document, open that, and there will be the link for Zoom for this class and for the help session for Tuesdays. It's 2 separate links, so it's not the same link. So hopefully that answered your question. So we've got several ways for you to get into this help session, but you need to go, it's through Zoom, and you want to hit on that link for Zoom. Okay, does that do it, guys?
That's good. That's good. There's a
there's a question on files, how to get these documents from the files. Apparently the person is they've gotten to the shared iCloud folder and they see the documents. Okay. And as you open those documents, or you don't even need to open them, you're on the list of the document, it's like calendar and iOS 15, contacts and iOS 15, whatever. Flick up on that document and it'll say share. Okay. And then the share sheet will now open, and you're given several options. You can share it to messages, mail, and notes is one of those options, share to notes. And then you'll be able to do that. Or you can even email the document to yourself. Or if you open the document, like say you're reading the document and you actually got the document open, the text is in front of you. At the very bottom left, there's a share button there also when you're in the document. Okay. And then you can share it.
Okay, great.
And yes, you can use Siri when you're in VoiceOver.
I don't know if that person really means, I know that's what they said, but I wonder if they actually mean while you're in Zoom, in which case the answer is no. But if you really did mean VoiceOver, yes, we use those in combination all the time. Sure. To the person who asked about the locked out student, please explain to us what they are locked out of, because it says they're locked out of the email with the link, but I don't really understand. Do you guys, that was the second part of the question from the person who asked about the chat.
Locked out of, can you, where I can't find that.
It was the same, same question about why don't we leave the chat enabled?
Oh,
the second part of it.
Okay, is it near the bottom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Locked out. I'm looking.
Meantime, can I answer the question about the keyboard that
Yes,
we were
yes.
talking about? The keyboard that we were talking about is the one that fits onto the iPad 12 Pro.
Right. Yeah,
And,
it's the Magic Keyboard.
It's the Magic Keyboard. It's and so it's not really interchangeable with other. Well, I guess it would be if you detach it, but it's
no, because it's got to be connected with that with the
Bluetooth.
iPad in order to be functional.
Right. So basically, if you have an iPad Pro, a recent one, then that's what this attaches to by sort of magnetic attachment and Bluetooth. And it's also it's not it's relatively expensive. So if you're just starting out, I'm not sure I would put the money in.
Well, unless you really want that laptop experience with your iPad, though, you know.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say that then. I mean, with the 12 Pro Max, I wouldn't do it any other way. I really like it.
Sorry, I was hearing the thing there. Yeah, it's the Magic Keyboard, and you have to be careful. Apple has multiple things called the Magic Keyboard. Excuse me. They have the Magic Keyboard that's really designed to go with the Mac, and it has Bluetooth.
Right, that's what I have.
You can pair that with an iPad, but what we're talking about is the Magic Keyboard with trackpad that is designed for the iPad Pro, and they have an 11-inch version and they have a 12.9-inch. And do I need to make you a co-host again? Now, who did that say? Did that say Cliff Miller Sr., right?
No, it said Cliff is here.
But I mean,
it just said Cliff Miller.
Yeah.
Boy, it keeps jumping. There was a question about can you use Siri with VO? And the answer is yes. When VoiceOver is running, you can still invoke Siri. Because Siri and VoiceOver are two different things. Okay, completely different. VoiceOver is speech synthesis on your phone. Siri is speech recognition and speech synthesis. Totally different, two different things, if that helps. And then there was a question about copying text to the email from email. It says, does the same apply to getting emails we receive? Can you send those to notes? And the answer there is what you want to do is when you're in the email, like say you receive an email from TTJ, okay, from the support or the regular TTJ newsletter, what you'd want to do is you want to open that email, turn your rotor to text selection, copy all the text, okay, close your email, go to notes, create a new note, turn your rotor to paste the text. Okay, that's the way you're going to be able to do it. To get an email message to somewhere else, you have to copy that text.
Yeah.
And that was Cliff Miller SR.
Yeah, and that is that is the live version of Cliff, not the recording version. He's also, because he's in here. Well, anyway, there's a question about if a word is misspelled, or if iOS thinks that a word is misspelled, how do you indicate that it is actually correct? And the answer to that is by repeatedly leaving it alone and by repeatedly spelling it that way. And if it tries to autocorrect to something else, go back and delete the autocorrection and make it the way it's supposed to be spelled. And over time, through artificial intelligence, it will learn that that word is spelled correctly, and it will stop prompting you.
Yeah, I've had things indicated as words indicated as incorrect, and that's what I've done, is gone in, erase it, spell it the exact same way. And sometimes, even though I turned grammar off, sometimes it's because the artificial intelligence thinks the sentence should be structured in a different way.
It's not grammatical. Right.
Yeah.
The way I've worked my way around that is
when it tells me something is misspelled, I just capitalize the first letter so it'll leave it alone, and then it learns my habits.
Oh,
Yeah,
Huh.
you could. Well, yeah, you could do that too. That's another. Yeah, you could do that.
Because you know
But
me,
yes.
I'm lazy, so I cheat.
But it will learn. It will learn eventually. And if you get your keyboard dictionary so messed up, and you think I really want to go back because now things are said to be correct when they're not, and you know all this, you just go to settings, general, reset. No, it's not anymore. It's transfer or reset, I think it says. And then that's where you find reset keyboard dictionary. I think I might be missing a step. Hold on. Let me actually look at this. I don't want to give you the wrong thing. My iPad is here.
Oh, that's nice, Matt. Matt,
What's that?
that's nice. There's an indicator down here at the bottom window that says this is live on YouTube.
Yes. Awesome. Oh, that's cool. Cool. Okay. It's called transfer or reset iPad or iPhone, whatever it says. And then you just go in there and you pick the reset option for reset keyboard dictionary. That returns everything to the factory state in your keyboard, auto corrections and misspellings and all that. And somebody asked, is there a way to read the spellings of suggestions?
I didn't really get that question.
Well, yeah, in other words,
For
they're saying like
misspelled words. Yeah.
when you swipe left and right to choose a replacement, like we taught today, is there a way to hear how those
But
are
doesn't it-
spelled?
Doesn't it? Oh, I see. Yeah, you can go through it character by character, can't you? Or can't you not? Can you not?
I don't know. I was wondering that myself because I know you can with autocorrect, and I know you can if you use the other spelling option, which we didn't even teach yet because it's a bit more advanced. You have to select the misspelled word and then choose edit in the rotor and choose replace. And that brings up like a menu interface of replacements. And in that case, you can go through them character by character. I think if you turn the rotor to characters while you're doing a spelling correction the way we taught it today, though, I think it's going to deselect the word and move your rotor by character, isn't it?
That's interesting. I don't know.
It might.
I've never
yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I've never really played
Never
with
did that.
Yeah, we need to test that, I suppose. But that's there is a second way to do spelling corrections that will do what you're asking, but we're going to get there because we haven't learned how to select text yet, and that's an important part of that. And then to the person who did respond,
I don't know if the hints have to be on, but when I've gone to a autocorrect word and just sat there for a second, VoiceOver will spell it to me.
Okay, so that might be just leave it sit there a moment. And then the person did respond here, but I think what you need to do, someone, a friend of this person who's chatting in or what have you, remind them we have a support email, which is support@ttjtech.net. And, they can send any questions that they have, anything that they're not getting or that I don't understand what they're locked out of. But if they send us a message,
I think it's a student being locked out of Zoom that somebody's saying that they're communicating with somebody else that's locked out. I think, that they can't get on Zoom.
Okay.
That's what that's what I'm interpreting that is.
Okay.
And if that's what it is, it's just full, and they have to go to YouTube,
Right.
right?
How many is in here now? Because I had no problem getting in, and I wasn't a co-host yet.
97 right now.
Okay, that's why I was able to get in there. But it also told me when I first came in, it asked me if I wanted to switch from my Mac. Of course, I ignored that because I didn't want the recording to stop. So,
Right. All right. Do you guys see any other questions there in the chat?
I think we got them. It was kind of haphazard, but I think we got them.
I think we did. All right. So guys, we'll call this a 2-minute warning that will disable the chat in about 2 minutes. So if you do have any other questions, please go ahead and ask them now. Again, if time permits at the end, we will open it for a brief period, but we'll see. Looking at the time, I don't know if that's going to happen, but.
Matt, did you put the email, the body of the email in a text document in the iCloud Drive folders? Because it might be a good idea to put it there so people know if Zoom is full, they got to go to YouTube.
Yes, I did. Yep, it's in the instructions for VoiceOver students document. I put the entire body of the email, including those links to the YouTube and all of that. Yep.
I'll send you that Zeno radio link too, so you can add that to the list.
What's that?
There's
I said,
two
I'll send you
questions.
I'll send you that Zeno radio link to my
Okay.
too,
Okay.
so they can get on there too.
Okay.
Matt,
Lynn, you said there's two questions, or?
yeah, one of them was if you're doing slide to type and you're on a letter like hello and you're going to do the L twice, how do you do that?
You
So
just lift
you
your
really-
finger and put it back down.
Well, you really don't have to. With slide to type, if you have double letters, it's going to kind of use artificial intelligence to know that. So if you do HEL and then move to the O, it's going to make hello one of the suggestions. It's just it's smart enough to incorporate that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. So on Wednesday, guys, we're going to learn about notes. As I said, we're going to really get into notes, but we're going to work today on the rest of this text entry and text editing. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to talk to you about reviewing what you've typed and editing what you've typed. So far, of course, we covered the different typing modes. We covered how to check spelling with the Rotor, which is what I would call the simplest option for VoiceOver users. Not the only option, and quite honestly, sometimes I prefer the other one, but we'll get to it. And we talked to you about the quick bar, autocorrect, and quick type predictions. Now, I mentioned to you that quick bar can serve other functions in other apps. When we learn later about Safari and web browsing, you're going to learn that same auto bar is going to serve as an autofill bar in form fields, offering you the option to autofill your contact information, your payment information, and even to autofill passwords with keychain. And that is a wonderful feature that we're going to learn about when we cover Safari and when we cover security and privacy. And so that's all coming. But I would encourage you to just keep in mind that you always check above the letters U, I, and O to see what's up there, because sometimes it's corrections, predictions, autofill. There's all kinds of things that bar can do up there. And when we start talking about filling out forms, it's going to be really convenient. All right. What I want to do now, though, is I want to talk about the idea of now you've typed something, whichever typing mode you used or you dictated it doesn't matter. How do we go back and how do we read what we've typed? Because we've been harping on that, right? We said, make sure you review what you typed. Well, how do we do it? Well, we're going to use the Rotor. That's for sure. And we're going to be able to review text, select text, copy and paste, delete, anything we want to do, all using the Rotor. Now, what we want is we want to type some text first so that I can show it to you. And then I'm going to set the Rotor to characters, to words, or to lines. When you have enough lines of text, then the lines Rotor option usually becomes available if you've chosen to include it in the Rotor. And this is what we will do. We'll set the Rotor to one of those, and then we'll use one finger. We'll swipe up or down. And when we do, we're moving the VoiceOver cursor, but in edit fields, we're also moving the insertion point. Remember that insertion point is the the system cursor. Okay. And so we're moving both when in most edit fields. And that's good because that's how we can make changes very easily. Now, I want to explain to you the position of the cursor with respect to what you hear. But in order to do that, I do need to type some text. Okay. So I'm just going to go into a blank edit field somewhere. And I'll just use messages because it's just right here and I'm already in an edit field there. All right. I got the voiceover. I got the volume turned up. And we're going to type a sentence. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, which is a really cool sentence because it incorporates every single letter of the alphabet. Now let's listen to it.
Apps message text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Character mode. Apps
Okay.
button.
And you heard it say character mode, which means my rotor is already set to characters. Now I've already explained to you that if you double tap in the edit field repeatedly, it's going to toggle you between the beginning and the end of the edit field. I also want to explain to you now that as we swipe up or down with one finger, whatever our rotor is set to, let's say, for example, it's set to characters. What we're going to hear VoiceOver say is the character that the cursor passes over. And I'm going to explain that in a little more depth, and I'm going to demonstrate it so that it makes sense. But let me try to give you an analogy that might make sense to you. Let's say that we have the instructor team sitting in front of me on a couch or on chairs or whatever they're sitting on. And they're sitting left to right in front of me. And let's just say the order is, I don't know, we'll just say Rita, Cliff, Sarah, Lynn. We'll just use that order. Rita, Cliff. Let's use alphabetical. That would be Cliff, Lynn, Rita, Sarah. All right, that's easy to remember that way so I don't forget. All right. Cliff, Lynn, Rita, Sarah. As I walk from person to person, the first person that I will encounter on the left is Cliff. Now, when I walk to the right, I'm going to see Lynn. But if I walk back to the left, I still have Lynn there until I get past her. So what I'm saying to you is sometimes you're going to hear a character spoken twice. If you swipe up and then you swipe down, you're going to hear that same character. Or if you swipe down, you've passed over that character. Your insertion point is now to the right of that character. But if you swipe back up with one finger, your insertion point is now to the left of that character. You've heard it a second time because you're passing over it. Let me just demonstrate it, and then I think it'll start to make more sense. I'm going to double tap to make sure my insertion point is at the start.
Insertion point at start.
We have the word the, and then the word quick. I won't go any farther than that for right now.
Cap T H E space Q U I C K.
All right, where is my insertion point? It is directly to the right of the K. So if I type something, it's going to go to the right of what you just heard, the letter K. Now let's swipe back up, but watch this.
K. Kilo.
You hear the K again because the insertion point just passed over it. But where is the insertion point now? It is to the left of the K, not the right anymore. And so anything I type is going to go before the letter K. It's going to go between the letters C and K. And actually, if I do this, if I tap the edit field,
Quick read unsent message text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Now listen.
Character mode. Insertion point between C and K at the 9th position. Use the rotor to access misspelled words mentioned.
See, so it's very good about telling me exactly where the insertion point is, and it is what I said, between C and K. And it's set at the 9th position. Okay. So you can be very sure you know right where the insertion point is. But remember, when you swipe down with one finger, you're going to the next item. You're going to hear what you passed over, and the voiceover cursor, the insertion point, will be just to the right of what was spoken, just after it. If you swipe up, you're going backwards. You're going to be before it. The cursor will be just to the left or just before what it says, what it speaks. This works for words, characters, and lines. So we've demonstrated characters. Let's set the rotor to words.
Words.
And now if I swipe down or up, I'm in the middle of a word, first of all. So
Quick. The
that's going up. This is going down.
The quick brown fox jumps over the.
Now, if I want to insert something, let's say I want to say the very lazy dog. What I'll do is I probably can just start typing right now, but I like to be doubly sure. So I've used words to quickly move to about where I want to insert the word very, but I'm going to set my rotor now to characters.
Characters.
And I'm going to make sure that I'm right before the letter L in lazy. So I'll swipe down.
Space.
And see, it's a good thing I did that because I actually wasn't. I was on the end of the word there, but I needed to be just one more space to the right. So now if I go down again, I'll hear an L.
L.
We'll go back up.
L. Lima.
And that's where I want to insert the word very.
V-Y.
Space.
Space. Very.
And now we
L.
see we have the L.
Messages. Cam app message. Text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the very lazy dog. Character mode. Insertion point between L and A at the 42nd position. Use the rotor to access misspelled words. Mentions.
That's how easy it is to insert something and to use the rotor to sort of review what you have typed. When you use the delete, it's called delete. They don't have two like on a Windows system. You have a delete and a backspace. They only have one. It's called delete, and it's going to delete the previous character. It's going to delete what's just to the left of it. Okay. So, if I wanted to delete this word very that we just added in there, I'll swipe up.
L. Space.
Now I'm just to the right of the Y. That's where I want to start deleting. If I swipe up again, I'm going to go to the left of the Y.
Y.
We'll swipe back down.
Y.
Okay.
Yankee.
Now I can delete that.
Delete. Y-R-E-V. Space.
And we had to delete the extra space too. And so now we have the sentence once again correctly. And I can verify that. I make sure.
E space L.
Yep, that's correct.
Messages. Camera app message. Text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Character mode. Insertion point between L and A at the 37th.
So there you go. Now,
to access misspelled words.
We've learned how to, of course, this is quick, a lot of information here. The ladies will add some things that I'm sure will, clarify it and expound upon it. And remember, it's on YouTube after the fact next week. And actually, if you go to the TTJ Tech page, I guess the whole recording that was live streamed should be available afterwards as well. But if you want the more condensed, cleaned up version that doesn't have all the extra, chatter or silence during the break or all that stuff, you just wait for Trainer Cliff's version, which he'll post to his Stir It Up YouTube page within a week. I encourage you to go back over this, because I'm giving you a lot of information here in a very short sweep of the clock, as they say, but I think it's really, really useful stuff. So the next one I want to teach you is how do we select text if we want to work with multiple words or, replace something that's there with something else, or delete, an entire block of text and that kind of thing. Now, here's the thing about that. You want to go into your settings, into rotor settings under accessibility and voiceover, and you want to enable text selection in the rotor. At least it's my opinion that you should. If you don't, there is another way to select text, sort of the legacy way, I call it.
Screen dim, send.
And what it involves doing a two-finger pinch and expand, like when you put two fingers on the screen and either spread them apart or pinch them together. And as you spread them apart, it increases what is selected. And as you bring them together, it decreases what's selected. For us with voiceover, that can be a little tricky, and it can be less precise than, this other method that I'm going to teach you. But this other method requires you to enable text selection in the rotor. Now I have it enabled. And the good thing is this works in edit fields, but it also works in a lot of other places where there's static text, like on websites, email messages, and even in the Apple Books app, if you want to select some text. What you want to do, there are several steps. The first step is to make sure that you position your voiceover cursor just before, or just to the left of, or just in front of, however you want to say it, just before the first thing that you wish to select. So we're going to select the word lazy, and we're going to take it out. Actually, I want to take out a couple words because that's going to not be enough to really give you a good demo. So let's
Return L space.
Let's do this.
Space.
Let's add very back in there.
What space very.
Okay. We're going to delete very lazy now. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is put my voiceover cursor just before the letter V in very. So I'm going to swipe up.
Space. V. Victor.
Could have done that by word. In fact, I'll demonstrate that. Let's go way down here to the bottom. Set it to words.
Words.
Swipe up.
Dog. Lazy. Very.
Now I'll go to characters just to make sure I'm really where I want to be.
Characters. V.
Yep, I was.
Victor.
I swiped down and back up. That's what you heard. I'm to the left of the V in very. The next thing that has to happen is I've got to set my rotor to text selection. Two-finger rotate. Let's do that.
Words. Text selection. Swipe right to expand selection. Swipe left to shrink selection.
And it already told you how to do it. You're going to swipe right to expand what is selected. Swipe left to shrink it, okay, or to deselect what you've already selected. But here's what we want to do first. We want to swipe up or down because we can choose how we're selecting. By character, by words. What are we doing? So let's swipe up and down.
Line selection.
That's lines. We're going to do words.
Word selection.
If we swipe up again, we have
character selection.
Characters. We'll go down.
Word selection.
And we'll now start to swipe right.
Very. Selected.
Selected very.
Lazy. Selected.
Selected lazy. Now let's say
Dog. Selected.
Oops, I didn't want to select that. Swipe back to the left.
Dog. Unselected.
Dog is now unselected.
Bottom right corner.
And what we now can do, we have this text selected now. All we've got to do is we can delete by pressing the delete key. We can type something else and it will replace what is there. Or if we want to do anything else to this text, we turn the rotor right now to edit.
Words, character, mentions, misspelled, edit.
And edit has a lot of options if you swipe up and down.
Cut, look up, share, undo, copy, cut.
Okay, so we can cut, copy, we can share that text, we can look it up in the dictionary, all kinds of things. We're just
delete, selection deleted, very lazy.
We're just going to delete it, okay? And now if we read
message, text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the dog. Insertion point between space and D. Now the 36th position.
We might have an undo button.
The send undo button.
And if I do that,
cut. Message it. Camera message. Text field is editing. Very lazy selected. Character mode.
Okay, see it brought it back there and it selected it again. So that's cool.
Delete.
We could delete again.
Selection deleted.
And that should be in your should be in your edit rotor as well. So you see that we can delete what's selected. As I said, if we wanted to replace the text, we just start typing and it instantly, deletes what was there and then replaces it with what you type. And of course, the edit rotor has, if you set the rotor to edit with the 2-finger rotate and then you swipe up and down, you have options for copy and all that. And once you copy, there's a way to paste from the edit rotor, and there's also another way. So I'm going to show you that now. This time, I'm going to actually use select all, which is in that text selection rotor, but it's also in the edit rotor.
Entire page, sent message, text mentions, misspelled words, edit.
Swipe up or down.
Select all.
There we go.
The quick brown fox jumps over the dog. Selected.
And then let's swipe up or down again. We should still be on edit.
Share. Look up. Cut. Copy.
We're going to copy it to the clipboard.
The quick brown fox jumps over the dog.
I just double tapped to copy. It's still selected. So if I delete now, it's going to delete all of it. If I don't want to keep it selected, I just set the rotor to characters or words or lines or something, and I swipe down or up with one finger to deselect it. But I want to keep it selected because I want to delete it.
Delete. Selection deleted. The quick brown fox jumps over the dog.
Now my edit field is empty.
Hi. Record odd message. Text field is editing. iMessage. Insertion point at start. Use the rotor
And
to access misspelled words.
I can find paste in the rotor.
Mentions.
Under edit.
Misspelled edit.
See?
Paste. Undo. Scan text. Paste.
All right, paste is there. I can also long press on the edit field, which is double tap and hold or a triple tap.
Message. Text field is editing. iMessage. Character mode. Insertion text from camera. Menu item. Camera. Button. Text. Paste. Menu item. Messages. Paste.
So
menu
I can do
item.
it that way too. And I can double tap and
The quick brown fox jumps over the dog.
now my text is back. And I've just pasted it in there. And
3:56.
it's already
6.
almost time. We're going to go to the team here in a minute. Just about done. I was thinking there was one other thing I wanted to show you along those same lines, but if I can't think of it right now, we'll save it for Wednesday. But that is how we cut, we copy text, we can delete text, and we can pay. Oh, I know what it was. I've created a little shortcut gesture. So there are these new gestures that were introduced, I think, in iOS 13 that allowed sighted folks to sort of have shortcuts to paste and copy and undo and stuff. And I thought I could create some voiceover gestures to do that too. And I really like these. I think they're cool. I went into the settings into, accessibility and voiceover and then commands, and you find some empty gestures, you double tap on them and you can assign them to different things. So what I have is I have a 4-finger swipe up to copy and a 4-finger swipe down to paste. And that just feels so natural to me because it feels like, the 4-finger swipe up kind of represents you lifting that text up out of the edit field. And then a 4-finger swipe down is like you're dropping it where you want it. So let's just try it.
Dog period.
Okay. And so I'll just insert.
Message. Text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the dog.
I assume it. Yep. See, it inserted it. It pasted it in there. I got it 3 times now because I did it twice there. So you see how cool that is? You can create your own gestures too. All right. So
I wanted to say,
go ahead.
Yeah, about creating your own gestures. I also created a gesture for the rotor. So a lot of people have difficulty learning the rotor or doing it depending on your dexterity. And I can do it, but I found something I like better. So I went, like Matt just said, if you go into commands, but then you have to go into touch gestures once you're in commands. And then there are a couple of unassigned gestures. So the way I do the rotor is 2 fingers swipe right to left and 2 fingers swipe left to right. I do that and I go backwards and forwards through the rotor.
That's cool. That's useful.
And then the cut and paste that you do with the 4 fingers, I do that with headings, going up and down headings, but I like the cut and paste. I might change it to that.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's cool. And then I also have, I think my other one I created is a 4-finger quadruple tap for a quick note, because that's a new feature that we'll learn about here in version 15. But anything else, guys, from the team on this, text entry and editing and selection and spelling? And I will enable the chat one more time. We are about out of time, but I will go ahead and do that in case there are any final questions for today. And then, of course, we'll pick it back up Wednesday. But let's check with Lynn, Sarah. I don't think Cliff is here, but I think Rita is still. So
I'm here.
Yep. Okay. So anything that you guys want to add to this discussion?
No, you really do. Yes, I guess you need to practice, because this is different from other platforms in terms of being aware of where your cursor is. Okay, so as you turn that rotor, your cursor is, you need to know where it's at, because as you're going forward, the cursor goes, the insertion goes to the right. But when you turn it back, when you go back by a character, it lands on the character you were just on, because now it's on that character that you were just on. So you got to be aware of where that cursor is positioned. Okay. And it takes a little bit of practice to get used to it. But once you do, you'll be able to really select text and edit your text. And this is a way to proofread what you've typed or what you've dictated, so that you don't send out these horrific texts that we see all the time. So.
All right. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah,
Anybody
I'm
else?
a super editor. I mean, I edit, and it's just the way I'm trained. And so I think it's important to, like Rita said, it's important to present yourself well, but also just to know that you are, what is being received from you is what you sent.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that, but I think, Matt, you described all of it incredibly clearly, very well. Yeah. So I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, you know what? I do have one thing left to add, which is sometimes when you're selecting words and, copying, pasting, cutting, pasting, whatever it is that you're doing in edit form, just keep working at it. It's one of those things that doesn't seem, it's not like what you would normally do. So just work at it until your body knows what it is that it's doing. So your fingers will know if you do it enough times. Swipe up
absolutely.
to select, to swipe down, to whatever it is that you're doing. It'll get to the point where your brain isn't saying, wait, which way do I swipe to the right? Should I do it by character? You'll figure it out.
Right.
And
if you just
that's
keep
muscle
on
memory.
doing it.
That's
maybe
a description of muscle memory.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm not sorry about that. Voiceover was talking. I don't know what the second person said. I did see one question. I'll get to it in a second. We maybe on Wednesday when we're doing notes or something, I will demonstrate editing without the step-by-step narrative. And, I'm only doing that. I'm not boasting. I give all the glory to God anyway, but I do it to show you how quickly it can be done when you master it, so that you can see that it doesn't have to be a chore. Today, I think you probably got that idea anyway, but, we did pause to explain every step of the way. So maybe we'll do it without that explanation just for fun. Can you save text to pages instead of notes? Absolutely, you can. And all you got to do is, copy and paste into pages, or in certain types of text documents in the share sheet, there will be an option to open in pages. But even if there's not, you can paste that text in there. And I love pages. Pages is great. You can definitely, if you're comfortable with it, absolutely. Any final questions for today? I didn't see that second question there. There was a second one, but let me go back and see.
There's a question here. Somebody dictated the word pudding, and they want to, when Siri misspells the word, like you dictate something to Siri, you say send a text and blah blah, and it's got the wrong. You need to, when the text is up that Siri has, you need to double tap to open it, and then you can edit.
Right. And if you want to, you can try again too. Like if she, Siri will read to you and say, your message says whatever, and then he'll say, want me to send it? And, I'll say, no, change the message. And then they'll let you redo it. And, usually it'll get it right on the second try. If not, you could go for a third try, or as Rita said, you can double tap on it on screen while that interface is up there, and it'll let you, edit it manually. So yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
sending a Siri message and you're in a coffee shop, she's going to pick up everybody else's chatter. So you're going to be sending a really weird text.
Mhm. So when you do that, when you're interacting with Siri and something comes up, like here's your text message, okay, and you double tap on it, you're no longer in the Siri interface, you're now in the Messages app in the text field. Okay, so it changed. So just so you're aware of that. And that's a good thing for you to be able to edit. In catching the class in YouTube, how do people ask questions? I think they're going to either have to give them to somebody who's on this stream right now with us, with Zoom, or they're going to have to send it to support@ttgtech.net.
Yeah, I would
Or they can
suggest.
show up at the help session too, right?
Right.
Tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would suggest those exactly what they said. Support@ttjtech.net, or come into the help session every Tuesday, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central. YouTube does offer the ability to do to ask questions, but I don't want to try to monitor that as well as monitoring the Zoom stream at the same time. So I think that the best way to do that is the other methods we said.
Yeah, there's a question here I don't quite understand. It's we are editing and it thinks our name is spelled wrong in the dictionary. How to add someone's name to a dictionary?
Well, again, if I'm understanding the question properly there, that goes back to the same thing we answered for the gentleman a little bit ago, is just repeatedly doing it. The more you use it, it will automatically learn that eventually. For the longest time, it thought that my daughter's name should be spelled Kylie, but we spell it Kylee. And it was just a matter of, repeatedly putting it in there the way we spell it. And eventually it learned. And, now even when we dictate it with Siri, it spells it correctly, or, the way we choose to spell it, and not the way it thought we should. So it will learn. You just need to kind of give it time and just be persistent about it every time it, just fix it. Yep.
Okay. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, remember that there is a help session tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central. The link for that is definitely on the website. I'm going to check the instructions document too, but because I think I put it in there, but it's definitely on ttjtech.net under free resources. Join the help session. And of course, if you have subscribed to the TTJ training calendar, you will find it there as well. We want to thank you for joining us today. God bless you, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep, take care.
Bye, everybody.